Good morning, all. Liverpool United, the big one tomorrow. Two biggest teams in England go head to head. Biggest rivalry there is out there. Two most successful teams. Liverpool trail United at the moment in the Premier League by 10 points. Hard to believe, Kev. We're only 10 points behind United with how good they've been and how really poor we've been. I was just looking at some of the results of last season. How much of a shadow we've been this season, where we beat United 9-0 last season, scored 9 on aggregate in the two games and hadn't conceded. And like 9-0 was, it didn't do it justice. It should have been a lot more, really. First of all, Kev, how are you, and what's your thoughts on tomorrow's big game?
I'm good. Looking forward to it. And it's one of those like this. When you start looking at the table, that tells them one story. But you scratch the surface of the table and you realize that for how bad we've been and how perceivably good they've been, they've scored one more goal than us this season. And we've both conceded the same amount of goals this season. So it's decisive moments in games that's costing us points. It's, gifting up goals. I think this season we've found so many ways of inventing new ways to gift up goals to people that it's laughable. And the chances that we're creating, I think we're creating the third highest amount of chances in the Premier League this season, but we're gifting up. I think we're one of the highest in the amount of XG chances that we're giving up. So it's clear as day where our problems are. But at the same time, you look at the results for the last five league games for both clubs, they're identical. We've both won. I think, in the last 5. I'd have to look it up there now, but I'm pretty sure
3 drew 1, lost 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The perception that Manchester United are absolutely flying is clouded a bit by how well they're doing in the cup competitions. And you turn on the telly, they've won again, It's like, yeah, but that's the League Cup, that's the FA Cup, that's the Europa League. When you actually look at the league form, they're good. Don't get me wrong. I think Ten Hag is doing a fantastic job there, but we're not as far off as what we think. And given the results of the league in the last 4 league games with 4 clean sheets on the bounce, and difficult enough places to go in, going to Newcastle and getting a win there, and away at Palace can always be tricky. But for the fact that Alisson was literally sitting there in the deck chair watching the game, he had nothing to do. It was our inability to finish off chances that's costing us points. So I'm kind of optimistic going into tomorrow, where a lot of people are bricking it. I'm not. I think Anfield is still one of the toughest places to go to.
Yeah, I am a bit sceptical about tomorrow, to be honest, Kev. But I do get your point, and I don't think United are a great side. I think they're very confident and they're calm at the moment. I think when the game gets tough and they do have a rough patch, it'll be interesting to see how the players react, who will stick by Ten Hag, what way the fan base will be. But I do think that a side has plenty of momentum at the moment, belief, they're confident, they're calm, and they're getting some great results. But as you said, they're not all just in the league. They're third in the league, which would, 14 games to go, potentially in a title race, but, one game change at all. I just think, look, United at the moment, going to Anfield tomorrow, it's going to be one of the biggest tests of the season. They did go to Barcelona, came a goal down, got a good result there, then beat Barcelona at home. But, Barca didn't really offer that at Old Trafford, particularly in the second half. But, look, United, they've been building for some time, spent a lot of money. Ten Hag's come in, he spent a bit. And to be fair, he's done a really good job. So credit where credit is due, of course. But tomorrow, sometimes they say form goes out the window. Sometimes I agree and I don't agree with that. But we'll see tomorrow how United go about this, because this is a test for them as well as it is for us. You know what I mean? I think tomorrow's game is one of those you just don't lose, Kev. Would you agree? As much as we need a win, of course.
I think if we have any, I think this is a must-win for both clubs. If United have any ambition of trying to catch Arsenal, they have to come to Anfield and get 3 points. A point for Manchester United is not enough, and the same goes for us. If we want to catch the likes of Spurs, I think we have to get 3 points. A point is acceptable, but I don't think it helps us getting into the top 4. The way the Spurs are managing to pick up wins at the minute until Antonio Conte comes back onto the bench. But both sides are coming into this at the weekend, and both sides have to win.
Yeah, I agree. Look, we're 6 points behind Spurs, who are in 4th place. We have a game in hand over Spurs, so we have to play Spurs at Anfield. We already beat them at their stadium, whatever it's called now, in London. But I think we got to be more ruthless and clinical when chances are given, and that's something we haven't been this season. I can probably count on one hand performances and results this season which have been really good. I think the 2 City games in the Shield, the home game against Napoli, I thought we were really good in, where we won. I thought Wolves, John Knight, we were very good in, and Ajax in the Champions League, although that could have went either way when Matip leaves it late, I thought we were very good in that. But see, with intensity, with some tenacity in the game, or energy, we're a lot more clever. Like, United should be leaving Anfield regardless of whatever happens, battered and bruised. Do you know what I mean? We shouldn't be giving them time. We shouldn't be giving them space. I think we're giving them way too much time. Teams at Anfield, particularly, too much time and too much space, where it gives them confidence, it gives them belief, and it gives them time. And that's something we cannot be giving teams at Anfield. So tomorrow, look, we 4 clean sheets out of our last 4. We've 10 points out of 12, which where we were a couple of weeks ago isn't too bad. Look, last Saturday after the game against Palace, we were probably all frustrated. It was a bit of a meltdown where we went there, didn't do a lot, although we'd more chances than Palace. I heard some people saying Palace could have won it. I think that's ridiculous to say, because they didn't offer that in Palace. It's like they came out and were happy just to not concede and then hope for the best. And we had a little bit more of a go, but it was very frustrating, no doubt about it. It was a game where we needed Darwin Núñez in, I thought, and you could see John Knight when he came in against Wolves. I know that offside goal, but how good he was. And, the cop singing his name, he's full of belief, he's momentum, he's tenacity in his game, he's, playing on the edge all the time. He's just a real spark. So tomorrow he'll be, again, playing. Obviously, he'll start, I'm sure, tomorrow. But do you think he should play up centre for us tomorrow, Kev, and Gakpo out on the left and Salah right?
No, I think until everyone is back fit, until we get Luis Diaz back fit, I think you have to have that threat from wide with pace that goes in behind, and he offers that. He's brilliant at doing it. It's and to be fair, from what I've seen of Cody Gakpo in the last few games, his ability to drop into midfield and create space for himself, turn and go away from people. People didn't think he had that in his locker, that initial burst of pace to open his legs and to go with the ball is really good. And it's something that Darwin doesn't have in his game. I think it's. We were having this discussion the other night that I think that Liverpool eventually will evolve into a side playing 4 forwards. Be it 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. But I think eventually you'll have Darwin through the middle as someone who can get in behind with Diaz and Salah on the other side. But until Diaz is back fit, I think you almost have to make do. The worry, I think, with Jota coming off with a bit of a niggle at the end of the game, I think he'll be fine for the bench. But I'd definitely be going with Cody Gakpo through the middle and Darwin out wide, especially if it looks like Manchester United will probably line up with Wan-Bissaka on that side. So having that threat on that side will force whoever's playing in front of Wan-Bissaka to play that little bit deeper. And if that's Anthony, then I don't think Anthony has that in his game. I think Anthony is he offers Manchester United a lot of balance going forward. But going the other way, I think he can be doubled up on. And you can double up on Wan-Bissaka and get Darwin into space in behind him. You're in a veranda, and that's where I think one of our really strong outlets will be tomorrow. The other thing with Cody, I think Cody's much better at dropping into that space in and around Casemiro, not allowing Casemiro to settle on the ball, and to maybe by taking that ball into midfield gives us that option to get up the pitch a bit better. It's probably one thing that we're struggling with, even in the games that we've picked up points in, is getting up the pitch and holding possession in the final third for longer periods of time to create more pressure. because Manchester United will play on the counter. That's their strength. That's what they're very, very good at it. And Marcus Rashford is in the form of his life. But I don't see Manchester United coming to Anfield to try to dominate the ball. I think I see them coming to Anfield to try to soak up pressure, stay in the game for the first half an hour, and then look to quieten the crowd, and then look to play from there. But for us, I think first goal is key. First goal for us will be vital. But our best chance of getting that will be from Darwin out wide, Salah playing probably in against maybe Malacia if Shaw isn't right. Because Shaw's having a really good season as well.
Yeah,
he could be out. He's having a really good season this year. But if he's out, then you've got Salah against Malacia, which I'd fancy Salah in that battle. But at the same time,
as well as one goal away tomorrow from equaling Fowler's record in the league of 128 goals, which is some going. Yeah. He could have 21 goals this season already after tomorrow. And look,
and he's having a bad season.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, but like I know we say it's a bad season, but it's probably one of his worst seasons he's had for us. But the goals and assists don't tell you different. I just think performances obviously haven't been. He went through a patch there not so long ago where consistently he wasn't offering us that and wasn't doing it. But so was everybody. Look,
I think the biggest problem when you look at the goal output isn't Salah. We're missing 20. We're missing 20 goals that Diogo Jota got last year.
Exactly.
That's huge. You know,
and
that's
we
the
don't
difference between
either. You know, like we've Darwin Núñez coming in, getting used for new league, still young. He struggled with injuries, suspended for 3 games at the start of the season. You get Gakpo then that comes in January, halfway through a season, trying to still find his feet. He's done some good stuff, but you can tell it's not going to be the next season probably that you see the real Gakpo at the end of this season. So it's been a little bit of a transformation up front, and then. You know, Bobby Firmino, then it was announced yesterday, is going to leave. Club legend, no doubt about it, over 100 goals for 70 assists, I think it's saying. Might have been 107 goals. Quickly on that, Kev, Firmino's leaving. What do you want to say on your thoughts on that? And is it right? Is the timing right?
I think so. I think if you're going to evolve the side, I don't think it's fair on him to be what would be the third choice number 9. I think he's better than that. But at the same time, I think if you're going to be looking to play Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota as your 2 first choice strikers to rotate, it's not fair on Bobby to give him a contract extension to sit on the bench and play League Cup games. I love him. I love the bones of him. But at 8 years at the club, he's given us some flashes of absolute genius. We were chatting about him last night, and it's not the goals for me. It's the assists, the layoffs, the samba football, the flicks and tricks. The drop in the shoulder. He's the X factor. He was the glue that knitted Salah and Mane together. Without him, our system that we evolved into doesn't work. The work rate of it for a forward is ridiculous. He's a phenomenal player, and I've seen him linked with Inter Milan, and I think him in Serie A, could be a new lease of life for him. Milan is a beautiful city to go and finish off your career in. You'll have a ball there. You'll have an absolute ball, and what a place to go and play your football at 31 years of age. I wish him all the success in the world because I think he's a phenomenal footballer. But I think it's definitely time for both us and for him to do something new.
Yeah, I agree, Kev. I think the time has come for him to move on because obviously, look, he's not going to be playing regularly. He's coming to a stage of his career now where he's getting more injuries. He's played 26 games this season. I think he scored 9 goals, 4 assists, which is really good. He's been in and out of the team. He's been... look, Liverpool have been in and out in general this season, and he's been one of the players that's been in and out in terms of fitness and, having to withdraw from the squad late because of whatever injuries has come up. So he's played very little for us this season compared to previous seasons. But I think a little bit like you look at Joe Matip last season, for example, plays 40-odd games, has never done that for Liverpool before, has an outstanding season, gives everything to it. He's on the other side of 30. Maybe last season was the time to say, let's finish on a high here now. Nothing will tarnish him. He's not just going to hang around. And you're starting to see this season the drop-off of Joe Matip, that the demands are a bit too much. And he's on the other side of 30. That is he ever going to have a better season than what he had for us last season in terms of availability and consistency? No, I don't think so. And you could probably say the same for Bobby. Now that he's in and out of the team, now that he's dropped off that slight little bit, he's picking up a few injuries. Is it time for his legacy to go out as the player that we all know him, or to just hang around? And I think something we've been bad at over the years, Kevin, I think you will agree with this, is not getting rid of players at the right time. We've held on to players for far too long. And then, when the shit hits the van, they're scapegoats that looked at, likes of Ox, Keita and that. Now, look, they're a good bit different, because when Bobby's played, he's played consistently, given everything. As we said, he's the system, his drop-off, his assist, the flick of the shoulder, as well as the goals and the big moments he's given us in football. He's been with us for 8 years, given everything. I think we can all proudly say that, where some players haven't. And, he hasn't. He's been as consistent as many when it's come to injuries, where he hasn't had a lot. The last season or two, he's had that bit more. So I think it's time to go on. And it's positive that we know at this stage of this season, Kev, where he's either staying or going, because you don't want this going into the summer and lingering on, where is he going to sign a new contract, is he not? We know he's out of contract, he's going to go, and I'm quite confident Ox and Keita, who are out of contract, are going to go, and possibly Milner too. But I think out of all them, Milner might stay on for a load of different reasons, but I don't even know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think all four of them will go.
I think it's needed, personally.
I mean, I think that this summer you're going to see an awful clear out. And it's not going to be a bad clear out. It's going to be what's needed. I think I think this is Joel Matip's last season. I think Creevy and Kelleher will ask to go. But the other four, no, I think they're going to be they're not going to be offered new deals, and I think it's good that we know about Bobby now. I think we'll know about the others in the next month. I think you might get one announcement a week, or one announcement every fortnight that X player is leaving the club. And I think the planning for this summer, they have to get right. They have no choice but to put their hand in their pocket. They've got themselves into this situation, so. If they want to compete going forward in the next 5 years, this summer is huge, and they have to get it right. But I mean, Bobby's brilliant player, absolutely fantastic player, and you feel that not in a slower league as much, but in a more technical league, where he'll get that little bit more time on the ball, and it's a different type of football, and it's not as intense, because England has that intensity where you're playing in 4 competitions. It's a game every 3 days. It's non-stop, relentless, and you're the target. If you're playing for Liverpool, you're the target of every club that you play against. You're the biggest game of every club season that you're playing against. So that has its own intensity that comes with it as well. And the fact that he's given 8 years to the club. I mean, he signed under Brendan Rodgers. Ian Ayre went over to Brazil to get him. And when it was announced online, I was like, oh my God, we're going to have fun here, because I saw him the season before at Hoffenheim a fair bit. I thought, he's a phenomenal player. I was amazed, given the position of where Liverpool were at that time.
Exactly.
I was amazed that we were able to get him, because I honestly expected him to go to a Barcelona or a Real Madrid. I thought he was that good. And the fact that we got him and he flourished under Klopp, Brendan didn't know what to do with him, but then that's Brendan all over. But when Klopp came in, Klopp was like, "Hang on, we've got this guy. Whoa, let's have some fun." And we did, man. It was absolutely unbelievable time we've had with Bobby. But you're right, there is
under 30 million.
For
just under 30 million as well.
29 million pounds, but 29 million pounds 8 years ago was the upper end of what we call our sweet. Well, it's the upper end of what we call our sweet spot today. Our sweet spot today is 40 million, 44 million. 29 million back then was way above what we were probably willing to. That was pushing a club record fee. Club record fee at the time would have been Andy Carroll. So the fact that
40 million,
the fact that we spent 29 million on a Brazilian number 10 that is playing in Germany, that nobody really had much of a clue about, was, that was a big risk. And it's one of the many risks that we've taken that have worked out in our favor. You know, that summer he came in. I think Milner came in that same summer. So like,
yeah.
Joe Gomez came in that summer as well, I think. So it's like, you know, I think of the 5 players that came in that summer with he, in fairness, worked out pretty well. He's literally won football with us. He's won everything. You know, everything that he could have won.
And deserved probably could have won more.
Yeah. Well, there's always that. We're always greedy as fans, aren't we? But look, if you'd have said to me 8 years ago, you're going to win a Champions League, a Premier League, you'll win all the domestic cups, and you'll win that Club World Cup, I'd have been, yeah, I'll take that. I'd be happy with that. And by the way, you're going to turn Barcelona over 4-0 at home after getting trounced 3-0 away over there. You know, it's the moments as well. See, it's the moments in the time. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in a decade when you go to see a Legends game? You're going to see a 41-year-old Bobby Firmino turning up with Salah on one side and Mane on the other side. They'll pack Anfield for fun and games, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah. I mean, they've given us some memories, and sometimes the journey is ultimately as good, if not better, than the destination. And we've had some fun watching Liverpool over the years, even the times where we came so close to winning and didn't. And, you know, we were all really proud, and some people didn't understand why we just missed out. But I mean, we'd had some amazing years with that front three of Salah, Bobby and Mane. At one stage and for a long time, they were the 3 best in world football and the most consistent as well. You know, they hung around. But look, it's changing now, and it has to. And, you know, younger, fresher players coming in, probably a change of system, tactics as well, which, look, we know that this summer, and at the moment, currently, it's a rebuild, and the club is the second rebuild, which is needed. It's happening, probably a lot is happening at once, which is obviously down to us not going for players and probably not bringing in the bodies that's needed, particularly in midfield.
Yeah.
Big games, Kev, are won and lost, and a lot of games are won and lost in midfield, and that's probably why we've lost so many this season. We've lost 11 games this season in all competitions, because I think, look, the weak spot in the area with issues is in midfield for a load of different reasons, and injuries as well. We've had there the most impact on. What do you think with tomorrow's midfield? Like, do we have... Look, I give us a chance against United. There's no doubt about it, at home. And as I said, I don't think United are great. I'll give credit where credit's due. Ten Hag's done a great job in a short time there. But at the moment, I think they're full of confidence and they're calm. And they've some really good players in midfield in that engine, particularly Casemiro, world-class player, doing absolute wonders there this season. What happens tomorrow in midfield, and who plays for you?
Well, for them, I think it'll be Casemiro, Fred, and Bruno. And the thing is, fair play. The one player that you gloss over there is Fred. This season, since Casemiro's came in, and he's linked up basically. That's the Brazil centre midfield. You know, they play regularly for Brazil, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
That midfield 3 tomorrow is going to be very good. They're really, really good. I think our midfield will most likely be Fabinho, Henderson, and Stefan Bacic. Yeah, Stefan. Yeah, look, I understand where people's argument comes from about Jordan Henderson, but you need in a game like that, you need experience as well as youthful exuberance. And if you've got, I think Fabinho the other night showed glimpses of where he can get back to. Some of the pressing high up, some of the passing that he was playing. There was one into Darwin that he just missed, but he had the vision to see it. Yeah, he had the vision to see it. And I'm like, that's the Fabinho, those 30-yard think balls into space. That's the Fabinho that we've been missing this season. You know, the fact that he's sensing danger. And the other side of it is when we were on the ball, he dropped back into a back 3, allowing the 2 fullbacks to go. And I think that could be really important tomorrow. But yeah, he starts for me 100%. Henderson, I think you're looking to get an hour out of Jordan Henderson tomorrow. Get an hour out of him at full intensity, full legs. Do the best you can for an hour. You know, and then we'll assess it in the game. Then I think the changes will come from there. But it's a huge test for Stefan. He'll be on the same side as Bruno Fernandes, and as much as he's got one of those faces in football, along with Bernardo Silva, that you just like wanted to horrible things too that could get you arrested.
Yeah.
He's having a really good football, and I think ever since they got rid of Ronaldo, he's benefited from it more than anyone else, and he can pick passes from deep for Rashford on breaks and into Weghorst as well. Weghorst is really going to be important for them tomorrow because Weghorst drops. Yeah, Weghorst is one of those steady Eddie nines, but he's not really a nine. He drops into that 10 role and he's a link up there for everyone else, and they're very good at finding him. So Fabinho will have his hands full there. Stefan loves a tackle. He loves snapping into one early.
Yeah.
So
I think his very iconic tackle against Wolves. I know obviously Liverpool had it posted up as well. Real Gerrard-esque, comes back, wins the ball, and then head up and dribbles with it. But he's quality for 18. I mean, look, he's one of the very positive things to come out of this season, and with a rebuild going on, there's no doubt about it. Liverpool need everything to hold on to him because he's going to be hot property, I'd imagine, in a year or two's time, if he keeps up the availability that he's shown and the consistency. And I mean by availability is not getting injured. Do you know what I mean? Look, midfield has been an area we've had loads of injuries in, and we've had loads of players that have let us down there in midfield. Like at the moment, like Thiago's injured, he's not going to play tomorrow. Ox is not going to start tomorrow. Keita isn't. Milner isn't. Jones isn't. So it leaves you with very few options. So it is frustrating when you look at, the big games won and lost in midfield, and we've very limited options there. And then the options that we do have are players that are not really in form. Their legs have gone. The game's past them. And some of them, is there a chance we sell a midfielder in the summer, Kev, if Fabinho, say, for example, if we need money now? You don't think that?
No, I don't think so. I just think this is the summer that the amount of discussions we've had on this, and it's for something that Gav Doyle has been really strong on, and I really agree with him. FSG have to do a Bellingham-esque transfer this summer, whether it's Jude Bellingham or someone of that ilk. And that has to be separate from any other transfer business done this window. It has to be. That's in isolation. That's the one time the FSG or their investors are going to have to put their hand in their pocket and say, look, here, have this, and the rest you'll have to fund yourself. Like, normally our transfer spends for the last few years, money out. Like last summer, our transfer spend out was over 100 million. Okay? So if you do that again this summer, plus a Jude Bellingham, and even if it's 130 million plus add-ons, whatever, I don't care what it is. But you do that amount of business, I think you'll get a fee for Kevin Kelleher, you'll get a fee for Joel Matip, but you bring it, for me, I would be bringing in someone like Kefren Turan from Nice, 21 years of age, really like him a lot, 21, 6'4", gets around the pitch, really good prospect, but looks like he's on the verge of being the one that's behind Tchouaméni, that kind of style of player. I'd be bringing in someone like him. I'd be bringing in Bellingham. I'd be bringing in at least one more centre-back, probably Effin and Dicka on a free. He's a really good prospect. If Effin and Dicka was going, if he was going on a free, going for a fee this summer, he'd be 35, 40 million pounds. Similar to what Arsenal paid for Saliba. Plus, he's 23, left-sided centre-back. It's exactly what we need, someone that could come in and cover for Virgil and give him a break every now and then.
For his age, he's experienced at 23-year-old and would enhance, I think, and flourish in the Premier League under Klopp. Look, the good thing for Liverpool this summer, and I keep saying to people, is, Kev, that we're losing players in midfield because of the contract situation, whatever, who, look, let's be honest about it, they're not going to get a new contract for different reasons, right? But the good thing is that we've no choice but to replace those, and that can only be a good thing, because that means the next players that come in to replace those are going to be better, I'd assume. And if they're not better, they're going to have more availability, because a lot of the players we have are just not fit enough week in, week out. Like, you look at Naby Keita, for example. He's at the club 5 seasons and he's played, I think, 80 games. I mean, that's a shocking amount of appearances. How many of those games did he just come on in games that he probably didn't even start? There's been a very small number of times that I've seen consistency from Naby, and he's actually showed, okay, he's a future here. I've never thought of Naby Keita as a player that, yeah, he's a future here. This is the Naby Keita that we bought, apart from 1 or 2 games here and there. So look, midfielders will come in because we've no choice. But the question is, who will come in? How much will be spent? Will there be a marquee signed in there? And look, I think Jude Bellingham has to happen, Kev, because there's so much speculation, so much smoke around this deal, so much you heard on social media. And look, I'm not saying all the stuff you heard on social media are from reliable sources and people that know it, but some of the reliable sources and some of the stuff you're seeing is Liverpool, there's no doubt about it, are interested in Jude, but they're not. There's nothing official around the deal. I think we have to get him this summer. I think we look a bit stupid if we don't. But there's a possibility we might not though either. You know what I mean? There's a possibility that all this is exaggerated as well, and that Liverpool probably for some reason are looking at someone else. They'll bring someone else that's really good in, but it's a lot cheaper and probably similar to Jude Bellingham. I don't know, but we don't know how much of this is true because there's just so much, so many sources, reports on this deal. You know what I mean?
The only thing I'd say is I think what happened with Tchouaméni last summer, I think that would have stung FSG a fair bit because that was pretty much over the line until Real Madrid lost out on Mbappe, and then they doubled. They almost doubled what we'd agreed, and that you're walking away at that. But the other side of it is, whether people believe it or not, FFP really is a thing. And for a lot of clubs, Manchester United being one, they don't have the headroom at the moment to be able to bring in a Jude Bellingham. There's only 3 clubs in world football that can. All right. There's Manchester City, there's ourselves, and Real Madrid. I don't think Newcastle are viable, but they're an option. But I don't think they have the headroom with FFP for that kind of a fee. I just don't think they're capable of it.
I don't think he'd want Newcastle either because they're the club that they're going to make huge strides, I think, over the years because of money. I think he wants somewhere where he'd be settled, can make a difference, can be almost guaranteed game time, where Liverpool he would. Newcastle, it's not always necessarily because, look, Eddie Howe will be the first out there. There'll be a lot of players that will be out of there and new ones brought in because that's where they're at. You know what I mean? Similar to when City started off. Liverpool, Klopp, the manager he is, some of the players that's there, the traditions, the history of the club. Just look. Well,
I think Manchester City are the ones to watch. I mean, they're not going to lose Kevin De Bruyne.
And I don't think he goes to Real Madrid because of the same reasons. I think Liverpool, City are definitely the two that stand out to him. Yeah,
they're the two. And I think, look, he'll have a choice. And then one thing, I've always said this, and I'm just looking from his career and all of his interviews that he's done, I firmly believe that wherever he goes, it'll be his decision, but it'll be a football decision. He knows he's never going to put his hand in his pocket and feel his leg for the rest of his days. You know, he's not moving for money. You know, he'll be a rich man, whichever club he decides to go to. But it'll be a football decision. Does he want to wear the number 8 shirt for Liverpool? Does he want to be a future captain when Jordan Henderson leaves Liverpool? Then that's going to be the decision he has to make. Does he want to go to Manchester City, work under Pep, link up again with Haaland, eventually replace Kevin De Bruyne, come in now and replace Bernardo Silva? Then you know, it's a live option, big time live option. But it's got to be his decision, and it'll be a football decision. You know, all we can do is put our hat in the ring. But this time, there's no alternative but to have a backup in place. We can't go into a summer like we did last summer, say, yeah, we really want Tchouaméni, we really want him, and we're going to get him, and then not have an alternative lined up if it fell through. We knew last summer we needed a central midfielder because we were going for one of the best in the world. So the idea that we didn't get him and then got nothing is an absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it's usually disappointing. It was. And look, that's why everyone at the club is being called out. And that's why there's been so much criticism, particularly on the owners. And look, rightly so, you know, because if you're going to go in for someone, you need to have an alternative. You can't just say, right, we won't get anyone in. And then you suffer all season due to not having that option. Because you know yourself.
What you said there was dead right. The fact that this summer, they don't have that luxury. There's 4 players leaving the squad this summer that
all need to be replaced.
Well, it's replacing them for one. It's big wages that are going out the door as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it frees up a lot of money in that side of it. And we know, we've seen the accounts, our wage bill is huge. But our wage bill is also based on what you win and what your competition is like. So I don't think our wage bill is too high, but when you're freeing up that much, it does give you options. And whatever three midfielders the club bring in, they're going to be, one, you're going to be more available than what you have. Two, they're going to be players the Klopp wants to use. That in itself is you see there's Thiago's of this world, the Fabinho's of this world needed to be playing 50 games a season. That's the whole thing. If you can reduce the amount of game time you need from a Thiago by 10 games a season, you probably get so much more out of him for the 30 that you got. And his contract is up the following summer. So it's not a case the world stops this summer. The world will move on, and there's players in 2024 that are going to be out of contract as well. So you got to future-proof this as well.
We have to go back to being clever as well. Recruitment, being very, very clever, being ruthless with it. And, being ruthless with some of the players that's currently in the team and having a conversation where, there is a future or there isn't a future, and more so that there isn't for some of them. So you're right, Kev, absolutely spot on. And look, you can't have any days off in this business when it comes to recruitment. And it seems like this season we've had too many days off and we've been caught out. So hopefully this summer now, and the Bobby news, as sad as it is, it's good at the same time because we know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully now in the next couple of months before the summer, we'll know who's going, and hopefully even better, we'll know who's going to be coming in. Probably won't know more of that though till after the season's over on the 28th of May, but we'll see, you know what I mean? And wouldn't surprise me if we can do some deals. And I'm hoping we can also do some clever and smart deals, because not all the deals that are really good have to be crazy money either, you know what I mean? But if the people at the club are doing their jobs right and are on the ball and not taking days off, as I said, then these things are possible to happen. But look, we'll wait and see. Tomorrow though, Kev, huge game. They haven't beaten us United in, I think, is it probably under Ten Hag? It might have been 2016, so 7 years ago at Anfield. We've had some great results home and away to them this season. Go away to them. We were really poor against them. We lost 2-1 in the end. We could have probably gotten something, but we were well out in that game. They overran us, overtaught us, had more energy than us. They were just more intensity and were more hungry and aggressive than us. And that's something that at Anfield tomorrow, we got to be better than United at. If we can't match them for performance, or if, we do something stupid, we got to make sure we've more intensity than them, we've more aggression, hunger, everything's there. Not give them the time and space. And I keep going back to that because I see so many teams this season come to Anfield and getting that. But I notice when we like City at home, when we don't give that, how good we were. And it's almost like Liverpool again. Do you know what I mean? They played the last day throwing comments at Avo Tour, throwing a few, and Rory Fitzgerald. Afternoon, gents. I only saw Kev post in the Telegram.
Rory's a top man when it comes to doing stats and graphics and stuff. If you're not following him on Twitter, he's such a worthwhile follow. But it's like tomorrow, I think we'll line up our 4-3-3 as normal. Ibu Kanate, I think Avo was mentioning there. He's so important tomorrow with Rashford and his pace and his directness. The last thing you need is Rashford standing Trent up and running at him one-on-one. And I think Trent is a really good fullback. I'm not on this bus that he can't defend nonsense. Trent's a very good fullback. But at the same time, Rashford is brilliant. And if you give someone like him space to run at you, you have to have cover inside that someone can double up. Henderson has got to be aware and block off spaces for Rashford to come back inside. We have to be on it. If we're not, we'll be beaten. And that's just the fact of it. This isn't the same Manchester United last year that we just talked. This is a confident side who are found ways of winning games, but they have problems. David De Gea has got a rick in him every game I've seen him. He's got a mistake in him. He's hopeless with the ball at his feet. Pressure him when he's got the ball at his feet to come out. Make him go long.
That's what Avo's running there about De Gea is a bit prone for the spill.
Yeah, make him go long. That's what you can do from early. And that's just basic common pressing. That's one thing that we're built on and we're really good at. press the keeper, force him to go along, let Virgil and Konate win the ball in the air and build from there again. Weghorst will probably pull onto Virgil's side or to Ibu's side to look to win balls in the air. But, it's about second balls from there. That's where Fabinho comes into his own, winning the second balls. Force De Gea to have to kick wide. And then that opens up the pitch for us to counter. So, it's going to be a fascinating game.
Konate, as usual, was very composed, compact there midweek. Same with Van Dijk, and then Van Dijk got the goal. So winners have to keep a clean sheet in that, knowing how good Alisson is. Tomorrow we should have a lot more confidence defending tomorrow. And obviously defend as a team and attacking and spirit is kind of viewed now, Kevin and Old Saints skilled saying. And I think that's what we got to be tomorrow. Much more compact, very composed at the back. Konate coming back in is huge. The presence of him, the pace, on set pieces and going forward on set pieces, how good he can be. And same with Van Dijk. Great to see Van Dijk got a goal, John. And two of those back are definitely our two best starters. We've seen how good Konate was at the World Cup and the experience and just the elegance of Van Dijk for us over the years. We know Trent will be there tomorrow, Alisson in goal, and then Robbo, with no doubt about it, comes back in for Tsimikas, because these are the type of games that Robbo, thrives on, the big games. But I'd have no problem with Tsimikas playing, because every time he plays, he does really well. But I think, look, it's obvious with Robbo left out there, he comes back in. So I think the team more or less picks itself for tomorrow. I don't think there can be any arguments, because as well as that, we don't have a lot of options, do we really, Kev? Really, we're not spoiled with choice. Jota doesn't start tomorrow because he's only getting back up to speed. Diaz, who's still out, So Red Steve throws in morning. Reds, good morning, Steve. Hope all's well. Afternoon. Yeah, well, we started this morning, but after 12 it's afternoon. And I've told Red Steve there and a kiss for him. I think that is,
They're bosom buddies. Gruesome twosome.
Afternoon of that, lads. I love it.
I think everyone's getting ready for Oil Classico at the minute, so that's kicking off at 12:30.
That's right. Yeah,
the plastic derby.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot for that. But so Kev, you confident tomorrow we win, or are you a bit on the fence?
I'm confident we'll get something out of it. The one thing I will say is we're physically a very big side. When you look at the players that we've got and the chances that we can get from set pieces, Henderson, Gakpo, Nunes, really good in the air. You've got Ibu, Fabinho, Konate as well. All physically good 6 foot plus players that can get around the pitch, but they can cause problems in the opposition box. And I fancy us from set pieces. I wouldn't have any faith as a Manchester United fan in David De Gea defending corners against us. And it's got to be a good outlet for us. We've got to really put pressure on them, force mistakes, put them under pressure. Give them something to think about. They've had a really nice run of games. I mean, you talked about the Barcelona game earlier away. Yeah, it was a great result, and what have you. But that game changed on Gavi going off and Pedri going off in the first half. In the first half, Barcelona were 1-up and they were dominant. As soon as those two went off, Barcelona fell off. United grew into the game. Don't let them breathe. Just smash into them. Don't let them breathe on the pitch. The crowd are vital. The crowd have to be up for it. The crowd have to push the players on. But the players have to respond to that and give the fans something to roar about. And as long as we're on it, I'm confident we'll get something out of it. Hopefully 3 points. We need them more than them. Solid.
Yeah, and look, Rory trousered in there about composure and compact and what we were against City and had a battle and tight game. We showed up exactly. Look, the thing is, I think sometimes we do better against sides that psychologically going in, they're in good form, but they're coming to Anfield, like when City did, and even the Arsenal away game, where we laid twice against them and we were in bad form then, and look how good Arsenal been. It's almost like you're in a different mindset going in against the side that's doing better than you, and there's. It's a derby, isn't it? Liverpool United. So it's like, biggest rivalry in football, biggest derby. So Liverpool will, I think, psychologically be up for this, but they just need to go out tomorrow and not just don't give them the time, space, what we've done in the past before, back to basics. And it might be a little bit of hoping for the best, but, let them leave tomorrow knowing that they've been in a big game and a game that's been tough, because I don't want to see this just falling over like the second half against Madrid and no idea and no vision and everyone blaming each other. Take responsibility tomorrow and just have a right good go at these. And Red Steve says, won't be against the cop singing Bobby's song tomorrow for the whole game. Yeah, we'll hear a lot of that, I'm sure, now with the news that Bobby's gone, just to...
I think he'll be involved tomorrow. I think he'll be on the bench. He'll be involved tomorrow for sure. He'll be one of the changes to come in.
Yeah, he will come on.
Ideal if you need to change shape. If we need to change shape for anything and you need to go with 2 up front, we have options to do that off the bench with Jota and Bobby. Jota can go wide. You can put Darwin through the middle, Bobby in next to him, and Salah out wide and go 4-2-4. If we need to really go at him and be really aggressive, we have whereas earlier in the season we didn't have that luxury, we didn't have that option to affect change from the bench. Tomorrow we do, and it's not going to be the 11 that wins it. It's going to be the 14, 15 players that go for 95 minutes, and those who want it more will get it. We really have to smash these. We really do.
This season reminds me a bit of seasons years ago when we weren't too competitive, and we always wanted to do well in the big games at home to Chelsea, Arsenal, City, United and all that, and Everton, and mostly we would actually do really well or get a big win against them. We certainly wouldn't lose many. So this season now reminds me a bit of that, if we're not going to get top 4, but look, because we are competitive now and we have a chance at top 4, every game's vital. Even some of the away games we have coming up that will be tough. It's not just about... Because a few weeks ago, I was resigning to it happened this season. I just thought, look, don't be like years ago. Just beat the big teams at home, and that'll be our season. So beat United at home, Arsenal comes around, beat them, and that'll be our season then, for bragging rights. But look, we've more to play for now, because I'm looking at the league table, and 6 behind Spurs a game in hand. We win that, beat Spurs, we're level with them. So, we have to play them at home. And look, Spurs are always one game away from the disaster. They don't know what's happening with the manager at the end of the season. They're a real hit and miss, to be honest with you. And 1 week they play great, get a great result. The week after, they're all over the place and they're slaughtered. So we'll see how it goes. But then you've Newcastle there as well, which look, I know we beat and they're a little bit out of form and they haven't done well in the last few weeks, but out of respect that they're still there. And look, 14 games to go, still a lot of football, a lot of points to be played for. Other teams of Europe, they've still other cup competitions. So we'll see. Hopefully we win tomorrow.
42 points to play for, and we have. If we find form, and it's not too much beyond the realms of possibility, that you get Diaz back at the end of the month, that you can go into April. If we're in striking distance of a top 4 spot at the beginning of April, get into that Easter wraparound period. If we're in and around the hunt for then, the sides above us are definitely going to be looking behind us or looking behind to see us coming because they know we're going to come.
Well, their season is April and May, Kev, because this month now, with Fulham progressing against Leeds in the Cup, that game is rescheduled now, so we actually have not many games this month. So it's April and May where are the big games, where the City, Arsenals, and all this. So that's and do we still play Chelsea? We might do. So we do the start of April. Chelsea is the 4th of April, a Tuesday night game. Yeah, it was confirmed. So we play them. So there's a lot of away. So that's our season, April, May, for me, looking at it. If we can get something tomorrow, there's a long way to go.
Be in within striking distance by then. Ideally, if we're within a game of the top 4 by then, that's what I say. Even a point tomorrow isn't the end of the world. If we're within a game of the sides in and around us by April, I fancy us to get top 4, and I think I fancy us to get top 4 fairly handy. Because once this team builds up a run of steam, a bit of confidence, get players back, get Diaz back, get the forwards flowing, then there's goals in this side. And the ability to keep clean sheets is there. Once we start getting to see the nasty side of Liverpool again, that horrible side to play against, the sides don't want to play us, then we'll be good.
Let's hope so, Kev. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we can put a run together and go on it. Something's always telling me, yeah, that's great. And then when I look at her, sometimes I'm like, nah, we're way off. But look, we all get like that. Sometimes the emotions take over. But look, 10 points out of our last 12. It's something to build on from. The clean sheets are obviously positive as well. And what makes it a little bit more positive for me is you've Kanate and Van Dijk, two of our best centre halves, coming back and hopefully into form. And Darwin Núñez staying available is going to be key as well. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, let's hope we start seeing that. Kev, it was great having you on, mate. You're back on tomorrow, are you? On the LFC Daytrippers?
Yeah, back on the Trippers tomorrow with Matt on a post-match. That'll be fun either way. The lads will be back then for the Fatback 4 on Sunday night. I think Gav's over in Liverpool this weekend. So you'll probably he's over there. So loads of stuff covered next. Yeah,
Kev just broke up a little bit there. He was saying that Gav is over for the game against United tomorrow. So, that'll be good. So, look, everyone tune in. Obviously, the LFC Daytrippers. I'm sure everyone on this does and watches them regularly. I definitely will be as well. Kev, I'll tune in tomorrow and leaves a like and comment on that and keep up the good work. It's not easy going on before games and especially after games how results have been recently. Avo throws in. Cheers, Daz and Kev. Cheers, Avo. Thanks for tuning in, mate. And to everyone else on a Red, Steve was in and Rory. That's what's done here. Look, hopefully Liverpool win tomorrow and hopefully we do get the bragging rights and another big 3 points, which would be great. And be the first time this season we'll have 5 games on the spin where we're unbeaten. So that's something to build on as well. Look, the most important time of the season is the business end as well. Take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, share the video as well. Thanks, Kev. All the best, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thanks, all. Take care.